This is probably going to be the shortest one of these we've ever done, because I don't know what to say about this other than, have you seen the show? It's that, but not good.
Just okay.
I wouldn't go okay.
I don't know.
So hey everyone, it's me, Aaron.
And I'm Michelle.
This is our post-Geekout reaction for the Fullmetal Alchemist live-action film. You guys asked that we talk about it, and we do cover everything from the world of geekery on this channel, not just regular movie reviews. So, a movie based on an anime, even if it just came straight to Netflix over here, feels like we should talk about it. Yeah, it's not very good.
It was better than the Death Note.
I wouldn't even go with that.
You sure?
I will totally say the live-action American Death Note film, I think, is better than the live-action Japanese Fullmetal Alchemist film.
Oh, wow.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. If you have not seen Death Note, you can watch the Death Note movie and know what's going on. I honestly don't think anybody who hasn't seen the Fullmetal Alchemist series or read the manga will have the slightest fucking clue what is going on in the movie. Because the Fullmetal Alchemist film, it is just like, man, I would say it's almost like 20 episodes of the show crammed into 2 hours. And it feels like you're just watching a clip show of the show, like a compilation video of clips from like those 20 episodes of the show, except they're just slammed together so quickly. They'll just go to this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing. I was like, the fuck is any of this stuff? Like, tell me this, just watching this, what is Winry's relationship to Ed and Al?
They're friends. And she makes automail.
What the fuck is automail?
Like, she makes his arm, so...
Yeah.
Which apparently is made of automail, but like, they don't really bring that up.
Apparently it's also robotic, because you see like sparks coming out at one point. It's like, the automail isn't like, there's no wires, and there's no electricity involved in automail. It's gears, that's all it is. It's levers and pulleys. But yeah, that's my problem with this, is that this really is, and let's go ahead and give our background on Fullmetal Alchemist. I love Fullmetal Alchemist. The original anime, about halfway through, I was like, what the fuck just happened to this? This is not the thing that I was watching, and I don't really like this anymore. And then eventually I found out, oh, it's because the manga hadn't ended yet. Mm-hmm. And then I started reading the manga, and I was like, oh, the manga is so much better than the anime. Then they made Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, which was an accurate adaptation of the manga, and yeah, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is really damn good.
Yeah, I only saw like the original Fullmetal Alchemist. I knew it was like, I did not read the manga, but I knew the series was derivative, driving off the course of the manga, because it was behind, so they were doing their own thing. Yeah. I did not see Brotherhood yet.
So you still don't really know like the stuff based on like the original manga and stuff. No. There comes one point in here in which you did turn to me and go, was this in the anime? I was like, yeah, that was in the
manga.
Was that in the manga? I was like, yeah, that was in the manga.
Yeah.
But I mean, aside from that, this doesn't really get to that point where it splits off in the original anime, so you're still, for the most part, still all caught up. Basically, this thing, it takes you all the way, man, it's so weird. It takes you through the stuff dealing with the priest in the first 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. Then it introduces the homunculi. Then it takes us through, it doesn't really do any flashbacks in here, but all the stuff that happened in the flashbacks happened in the present in this one. Like the stuff with, oh god, what was it? Taylor? Mm-hmm. Whatever his name was. The Chimera guy.
Yeah, Tucker.
You know, Tucker, that was it, yeah. Like, it does that whole thing, but it's taking place in the present. And yeah, like, I mean, that's still like the first half hour of this film, like going to meet Dr. Marco and finding out about how he created the Philosopher's Stones. And yeah, then they find Warehouse 15. I mean, not 15. That's
5.
Yeah, that's a TV show. Yeah. Warehouse 5, they find that. And yeah, it's just going through all this so quickly. It's like, there's really like no sense of like rising tension or things happen, or like, there's no sense of a storyline in here, is my problem with this.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. It's like, they're basically like taking like the important stuff that happened in the anime up to a certain point, because there's only so many things you can put in.
And they stretch that to the limit.
Yeah, it's like basically, like you said, it's just going beat for beat. You mentioned that before.
It's so much, and the thing is, man, I keep trying to explain to people, this is something that, when it comes to like comic book movies, I have to explain to comic book fans all the time, because there's so many people that I still hear to this fucking day. There was someone in my store recently complaining about the Civil War movie because it didn't follow the comic. And I was like, go fuck yourself, you idiot. Who cares? There was someone in my store, he was talking to a friend of his, like, yeah, I don't know why people like the Marvel films. They're nothing like the comics. And I was like, because movies aren't comics, you stupid. It's different mediums, so the way you tell the story is different. And also,
so that kind of like brings up a question.
I'm glad you stopped me because I was about to go. Yeah,
gotta go rage mode. But like that kind of brings up a good question. Like, as far as like what makes a good adaptation,
capturing the flavor, capturing the feel, and capturing the purpose.
Okay,
that's my definition.
Like, there are some adaptations that are like very like close to the book and everything. It might as to the point where it's like I might as well just read the book.
Yeah.
And then there's some adaptations that are so different from the book. You're like, what's this I'm watching?
Yeah, exactly. To me, it's always, does it capture the basic premise? Does it capture the premise of the source? And does it capture the feeling? Like, when you read that thing, the feeling that you got because like, oh, I enjoyed this thing about and this thing about and this thing about, was it able to convey that in there? Like, the thing that I've always used as the example is, imagine when they eventually maybe get around to making that Uncharted film that they've been talking about for fucking ever. When they eventually get around to maybe making that, don't adapt any of the fucking games because the games are all 8 hours long, and if you take that and cram it down into 2 hours, it's like, oh god, it's gonna feel just like this thing did. But just give me a story with the wisecracking Nate Drake going on an adventure with Sully. They run into all their other supporting cast members and some big wild thing. You don't have to base it on any of that stuff. It'll be a great adaptation of Uncharted. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Fullmetal Alchemist. It's like, Ed and Al get the thing about what happened to them when they were kids, get their relationship with Winry, get the whole idea of how alchemy works in this world, and then and get the idea of them having to hunt down the Philosopher's Stone. After that, throw in characters wherever you need them and wherever they fit, but you can create your own complete original story about this that doesn't have to like match beat for this. Like, if this entire movie had just been dealing with the priest in that first 2 episodes, if they like stretch that out now into an hour and a half to 2 hours, it's like, you can create brand new stuff in here, make this a completely new original story just based on that basic storyline there. Fine, totally captures it. That's totally fine to me. Or, you know, like, just skip the priest entirely and make it the story of Ed and Al having to join the state alchemist in there. That would have been a totally fine storyline that you could have done.
Like, you bring up a good point. It's like, they did not establish, like, the characters or the relationships, so...
They never even really fully explain what alchemy is in here. Like, Ed gives a very quick explanation to a guy like, oh, equivalent exchange, it's not magic, it's science, you have to take the thing and it has to have the exact same amount of like mass and everything in there. It's like, this is a really crazy concept. You need to spend more time on that for an audience out there that didn't read the manga or watch the anime. That's the thing that you have to realize. When you're making a movie adaptation of something, you're not making it to just go, hey, we're going to have a bunch of people cosplay as those characters you like and have them read lines from the show you like. No, it's for a totally different audience.
Which this is how it felt, honestly.
It did. It felt like a bunch of cosplayers got a really decent sized budget to like put on a fan film. That's what this was.
But like at the same time, it's like the effects were not great, but they were still kind of delightful. It's like that Super Sentai like kind
I hate
of
saying
shows,
this, but it's a Japanese film. They don't have the budget of a lot of American films.
Yeah.
This is what most of their films kind of look like. And honestly, I was looking at this like, damn man, for a Japanese film, this is actually pretty decent graphics. I thought they did pretty well for what Japanese films are typically known for doing.
Like, another thing is like, because it's live action, like you're this is shoot, what's the term? Is like
what's the thing you're trying to say?
Suspension of disbelief.
Okay.
Yes, like your suspension.
There's no way you could have described that and had me guess what you were trying to... There's no way to describe the phrase suspension of disbelief to have someone guess that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, like when it comes to like animation and everything, you're more willing to accept like bizarre and unusual things.
That's a very good point.
But like when you see like those bizarre and unusual things happening live action, it's like, this is weird.
That's something that I always bring up stuff about, how when you're adapting stuff, you're going to have to drop some things, not because it can't fit into the storyline, but because when you see live action people doing it, it's really fucking weird. But when you see cartoons or drawings of people doing it, it's way more acceptable. So yeah, it's like a lot of the like superhero costumes are my always go-to for it, because like whenever I hear people going, why don't they give Wolverine his costume from the comics? Because yellow and blue look horrible together in real life. Those are horrible combinations. On paper, it looks great. On paper, that's a great splash of colors to put together. In real life, it looks ugly as sin.
Like, honestly, can you imagine, like, the movie Logan with him in that yellow and blue spandex costume?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the point. But yeah, so yeah, this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, man, you put this in, like, live action, you're gonna need to explain a little bit more than what you had in there, because, like, bam, now I formed a statue. It's like, hold on, what? Also, this thing moves so quickly. Was it my imagination, or did Ed not have to do the, did he not have to create the circles? Was he, because every time that I saw Ed use, wait, am I getting Ed and Al mixed up? The one in the suit of armor.
That's Al.
Al, okay. Was it just me, or did Al never have to, like, form circles?
He did have to form a circle in the beginning, like when he was fixing up the mess Ed made. Mm-hmm. And he's like, but like, I noticed like at the end he did not use it. So I'm wondering if that's like supposed to be character development?
Okay, because that's like, I thought I remembered him forming the circle in the beginning, but then towards the end he's like just that like Al is. And I was like, I don't remember when they explained that at all. Because I don't think it was in the original one, but I know that in the manga and in Brotherhood, eventually he does learn how to do just forming his hands together. Yeah, it's not brought up in here at all, from what near as I could tell.
Like, I guess they want like the owners like to put 2 and 2 together, but that's still
like that to me is the biggest like what I'm trying to say here is like, dude, there's like a whole storyline in the anime about like how he's able to learn how to do that. That is cut out completely because hey man, we gotta move this thing along. It's like, you know what? He can now do it. He can now do the thing. Yeah, and there's a lot of other stuff in here that, like, it's gone over so quickly that it takes all the impact out here. Like, Tucker. Like, man, the fact that they had him in here, like, in the anime, Tucker, he's this guy who he became a state alchemist because he was famous for being able to create chimeras. Mm-hmm. And the thing that got him into the state alchemist is he presented a chimera that could talk like a human. But now he's up for review and he hasn't been doing that well. He hasn't impressed them in a while. So he's got to do something big. And in the anime, we're going into the spoilers on
this point. But like I feel like if you want us to if you want us to review the live action movie, I'm pretty sure you already know about the anime.
Yeah. But for the people out there who don't, like, Tucker, he has this little girl, and the little girl has this really big fluffy dog, and she's the cutest thing in the world, and they play with her, and they all love her, and she's wonderful. And then one day, Ed comes back and is like, hey, oh my goodness, did you do it? It's like, yeah, I finally created another chimera that could talk. And then the chimera just looks at it and is like, that was me. And it's like, when did you create the last chimera? 2 years ago. When did your wife leave you? So you figured it out. And it's like, you motherfucker. It's like, yeah, it's like, oh my god, that's one of the most horrifying things you've ever seen in there. It's like, he took his daughter and turned her into a chimera just so he could keep
He combined his dog with his daughter to make a chimera.
And it's like, oh my god, you monster. Mm-hmm. Man, that goes by so quick. And
it's like...
You see the daughter for like one scene and it's like, no, how can you do this to the daughter? It's like, yeah, it's still a terrible thing you did, but I don't have any emotional attachment
to this. No, it's like, that's the thing, is like, with the anime, it's like, they've spent time on it, and so it's like... The outcome is like way more of an impact. It's like
multiple episodes that you spent there when it's like, oh, Tucker, I'm rooting for you. You're going to figure out how to do it. Oh, fuck. Yeah, but in this, it's like, oh my god, this is just lazy as sin, man. Like they and they need to wrap this thing up at the end so quickly that they literally introduced a new character to this who isn't in the actual series at all. And the moment he popped up, like, anybody who has seen the series is going to look at that guy and go, I don't know you. Clearly you're going to be the villain. And at the end, this dude just pops up and now he's going to, like, use all these Philosopher's Stones that were created at Warehouse 14. Why do I keep saying different numbers? Warehouse 5. He's going to use all these Philosopher's Stones to like activate all these, like, they're not homunculuses like the other homunculuses, but they're like,
Yeah, but basically he's putting Philosopher's Stones into dummies.
that's it, basically like puppets almost.
Yeah, like puppets. He wants to like control his own army to take over the world.
Yeah, and it's like, why? Like, I don't know any reason why he's doing anything in here, because it's just like, I'm evil now for reasons. It's like, he has a reason, but it's like not memorable in any way, because yeah, he's not memorable in any way. They just needed something to wrap this up here at the end. And man, the homunculi that we do get in here, we get lust, gluttony, and envy.
Mm-hmm.
And, envy is one of those who they don't spend nearly enough time on them, because Envy's kind of an interesting character in the series because they're so androgynous. Like, you don't know, like, I mean, seriously, to this day, I don't know if they were supposed to be man or woman. Like, I think that was the point.
And the thing is, they shapeshift too, so it's like they can be whatever.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, yeah, they are a total androgynous figure. And here, it's absolutely a man. And it's not like a man who, like, acts kind of feminine or something. It's like, no, it's just a dude with, like, long hair. That's it. Long hair and a crop top. That's it. It's like, all right, well, you're taking the impact out of that. But it's like, Envy is such a fascinating character when you really delve into them in Brotherhood and the manga, and there's none of that in here, and Envy lives for a long time in the manga and the anime. They live until like the very end of that series. They kill her in this one. Him, it. They kill it. Yeah,
them.
They kill Envy in this one, and Envy's like the first homunculi to go, and like Envy gets taken out in the weeniest way possible. Like,
yeah, it's like they're supposed to be like immortal, but then like.
Well, the thing is, they're kind of immortal. I don't know.
Like semi, like they.
I don't know how it was in the original anime. I've totally forgotten.
Yeah.
But basically, the way that they explain in the manga and Brotherhood is that every single one of the Philosopher's Stones that they have were created by basically like an entire town being destroyed and sacrificed for it. So they have all the lives in there. So every time that they would die, that's one life used up. So they can die. You just have to kill them 1,000 times over. And Envy, like, I don't even remember when Envy left. Like, Envy was facing down Mustang at one point, and then Mustang shows back up again, and then Envy pops up, and it's like, Envy's got burn marks on him. It's like, yes, clearly you're healing slower. You're down to your last life. And Envy's like,
oh no,
run,
I gotta
and
get out of here.
Bam, on fire. No, fade away. I was like, wow, no climax to that at all. That was lame as fudge.
They could tell like they needed to wrap it up, so it's like,
yeah, this thing, wrap it up, B. They just, man, they end this so quickly, and then they take out Lust too at the exact same time, in the exact same way, just burn.
He's cheese dicking his way through.
He is.
Dick cheesing, is that the
cheese
term?
dicking?
Cheese dicking.
Yeah, he's cheese dicking it, man. He's found that one combo that works and just keeps spamming that shit. Which, I mean, again, that's how it happens in the manga and Brotherhood, but it's so much bigger of a climax.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it is like, man, he is like getting the shit kicked out of him, but he's still, no, bam, and just keeps going. Lust is just there, no. And then he comes up, he's like, I will take the Philosopher's Stone, takes his hand into her and rips the Philosopher's Stone out. I was like, I think that actually happens in the series as well, but I can't quite remember. But yeah, it was just so much like, oh, that was it? They're just supposed to be like the biggest, baddest motherfuckers in the entire series, and man, you took 2 of them out, one guy at the same time, like no problem. Man, it is so... It's so... I don't even want to say disappointing, because this is at like the 2-hour mark of this film, so it's like, what the hell was I expecting at this point? But it's like, man... This did not capture any of, like, the fun, epic moments of, like, the series.
Yeah, it's like, that's the thing, is like, Fullmetal Alchemist is like, it's a long series.
It's like, yeah, I don't remember how much the original one was, but I think the Brotherhood went for 56 episodes.
Yeah,
52,
so...
something like that.
Yeah, so, like, that's the thing, is like, Death Note was a very short series, so it was easy.
At least the good part of it
was. The good part of it was, but, like...
I gotta say, I actually like the second half of Death Note, but for totally different reasons. It's not the same show anymore. I just like it as a different thing at that point. But yeah, it's like, you could, like, Death Note was way easier, but even still, like, if you go back to, like, the Death Note film that they made in Japan.
Yeah.
That, to me, is a good summary of what I'm trying to say about how to do an adaptation, because in that, L is in it, but he's not the threat in the first one. He's not the villain. The villain in the first one is some lady who was in 2 episodes of the anime, because they're like, yes, when adapting this into an 1.5-hour long film, this is the character it makes the most sense to be the villain. That's what, like, and that's a problem that I think a lot of, like, anime fans are going to have whenever, even if they make a good adaptation of an anime, you're going to have to realize, yeah, that big bad guy you want, he ain't popping up anytime soon. Like, as shitty and absolutely terrible as Dragon Ball Evolution is, I'll give them credit. They didn't make Vegeta the villain, because there would have been no way to explain that shit. Yeah, it would have. Vegeta is minimum movie 2 for a Dragon Ball franchise, like maybe even movie 3. In all honesty, it'll take a while to work your way up to there. Also, if they ever make another live-action American Dragon Ball film, Michael B. Jordan for Vegeta. I'm just throwing it out there right now. He even wore Vegeta's outfit as Killmonger. You've all seen the picture of them being compared side by side. I know, because I retweeted it like crazy. Sorry, the cute dog is distracting me now.
Yes.
But yeah, that's my problem with this series is that, not this series, the series is great.
Yeah.
The movie, it just is racing through stuff so quickly, like, I loved Hughes in the show.
Oh yes, he was like my favorite character.
He was so fantastic. And in here, yeah, he dies in here like he does in the series.
Yeah.
But I felt like nothing, because man, he is in this for so little. Like, it was heartbreaking when he died in the show.
Oh yeah, it's like his daughter wasn't even born yet in the movie. Like,
yeah, that was
his wife was still pregnant with her. It's like
which I don't even know why they decided to not have him have a child yet, because that was the entire, like, defining point of his character.
Like, that was, like, the most horrifying, disturbing, distressing. Like, I could not sleep after seeing that episode.
Because his poor daughter now, like, the mommy, why are they putting daddy in the ground? It's like, Jesus. But yeah, it is, like, the entire point of his character was, let me tell you about how precious my daughter is.
Exactly, it's like...
His daughter isn't even born yet in this.
Yeah.
Why? Why not? So yeah, it's so, man, yeah, like, so Tucker, they totally screwed over, because, like, they had to race through that stuff, man. And then they try and turn Tucker into the big bad at the end.
Yeah.
Because they had to have somebody come in and go, here is what the Philosopher's Stones are, look upon it. And I was like, no, man, we don't need that in this one. It's, the entire first movie could just have been, hey, like, hey, these two guys, one's in a suit of armor for some reason, we don't quite know why, it's just weird quirk. They're these guys there for the state alchemist. They're going to investigate this priest who claims to have the Philosopher's Stone. He can do amazing things. Well, I met this girl, Rose. She doesn't know anything about alchemy. Let me explain to her, by which I mean you, the audience, what alchemy is. Let's explore that. Let's do that. Then at about, like, the half-hour mark of this, it gets revealed, oh, I've got a metal arm and a metal leg, and my brother doesn't actually exist inside this tin can. It's actually hollow. Okay, that's a mystery for the next hour of this film. And then right as you're ramping up at, like, the hour 3 mark, bam, is like, here, not the hour 3 mark, the third act moment. That's when it's like, all right.
3 hours.
No. At, like, the third act was like, okay, now things are getting heavy. And Rose is like, this is a miracle that he's doing. Why can't you, like, see that? Why can't you let me? All right, Rose, let me explain to you a thing or two about alchemy. And then bam, backstory on the two of them, blows the audience's mind who doesn't know who these characters are. And then the big showdown comes between him having to fight the Philosopher's Stone. And then when he gets there, he realizes it's a fake. And then they walk off into the sunset. And then you get and then you have, like, the post-credit stinger of the homunculi pop up, and it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like, if you are gonna make, like, a movie about Fullmetal Alchemist, it has to be, like, a movie trilogy, at least.
Minimum. I could honestly see it being, like, a James Bond kind of thing, where it just keeps going and going and going for, like, you know, do, like, 7 movies or something, and it's more about, like, hey, here are these agents of, like, the State Department, and them going off on crazy missions, and every single movie is them on a different mission, but there's one continuing storyline in the background, and they learn a little bit more about each time, and then when you get to, like, movie 3, sorry, no, we just had Darren. Then when you get to, like, movie 3, then it's like, okay, no more with, like, the little, like, single adventure things. At the end of it, in movie 3, that's when we learn some major stuff. That's when Hughes dies, that's when we get, like, we find out about Warehouse 3. Man, make a compilation of all the times I screwed that name up.
It's funny, you start off with 15, then you went 14, then 13. It's like, you can't...
No, I was about to say 3 that time. I went to the other end of the spectrum. I went too low. I was like, not 14, keep going lower. 3. Fuck.
Pick a number.
Then you get like the mystery of like, then all of a sudden like, you know, the end of like movie 3 is when all of a sudden like Hughes dies and they learn, oh my god, the Philosopher's Stones are this. Alright, no more bullshitting around. From this point on, we're dealing with homunculi. Movie 4 is greed. Movie 5, we're doing like the lady up in the mountains who is Armstrong's sister. You didn't even meet her, she's badass. Yeah, and you just keep going from there. Yeah, this could be a long-ass series, and for anybody out there who's like, well, they wouldn't let you make that many movies. It's like, motherfucker, they did with Harry Potter. They did with Harry Potter, and don't even get me started on how there are now 19 Marvel movies. It's like, well, it's granted, those focus on different people, so it's not the same thing. But Harry Potter got 8 movies out of 7 books. You could totally, like, stretch this out. And yeah, that's the thing that you have to realize is that, yes, you're gonna have to do that. And it means it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Also means, so to all the anime fans out there, like, go in here realizing, yeah, man, I'm not gonna get all the stuff I want in movie 1.
Speaking of taking a while, like, this movie, like, came out, like, a while after the, like,
I thought you were gonna say a while ago. I was like, really?
No. I meant, like, a while after, like, the series ended.
It's almost like a decade since that
Yeah,
series
so
ended.
it's like...
And I'm not even talking about the original. I'm talking about like, Brotherhood.
Yeah, Brotherhood. So
Yeah.
So, like, this kind of caught me by surprise, like, oh, a live-action
weird.
movie now after all this time? Like,
At least to be in, like, Japan, like, because I can see, like, stuff in, like, anime in America, like, we're just getting to that point in which, like, movie executives are like, could there be money in this? Could it be that Dragon Ball Evolution was just bad? And that's why it didn't make money? Also, because even anime fans didn't know that movie existed until after it had left theaters. Because, yeah, I didn't even know. Like, I thought that was a rumor until I had heard it's out of theaters now because no one watched it. I was like, wait, what? Which, granted, I'm glad I didn't see it in theaters. But yeah, it's like, I think, like, I could see an American adaptation now. I mean, we've got that American adaptation of Cowboy Bebop coming, which, oh, I'm not looking forward to that. Because, yeah, that's going to be on television. And it's like, man, if there is any one anime out there that is perfect to just adapt right into a movie, it's Cowboy Bebop. Putting it into a TV show where it's gonna be like hour-long episodes, it's like, man, it's not.
it's like if the least you can do is like put it on Netflix. So
I don't even know.
I don't know.
Netflix ain't got the best track record.
I know, but it's like it's better than actual TV, I think.
Fair enough. That's not saying that much. Okay. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's odd that Japan just did this now, because like, Attack on Titan got a movie last year, while Attack on Titan was huge.
Yeah,
like, right
that makes
in the midst
sense.
of that. Yeah, it's just very odd for it to be getting a film right now. But yeah, so I don't really have anything else to say about this. It was really just kind of uninteresting, and I didn't even really find the acting all that good. Like, Winry to me didn't even match Winry in the show at all.
Yeah.
Like, Winry to me just felt like average, like a very stereotypical Japanese, like, schoolgirl kind of character.
Yeah.
Like, she was just going to like, yatta! I was like, that's not Winry. Like, Winry was not that. Winry was the, what the fuck are you doing to my machine, Al? She was a badass. But yeah, we get, got an itch. We get, like, no background on, like, them being raised up. Like, one day Winry just pops up and Ed just sees her and is like, Winry? And it's like, hey, this random girl is now joining us on this adventure. She's doing something with his arm. Okay. And, like, when they go on a mission to find someone, and then they just stop in a random town for no reason, because Winry's like, I think I saw him out there. Oh my goodness, I did. It's Dr. Marco. Oh, someone's killing Dr. Marco now. Like, was that even who you were out on a mission for?
Yeah, it's like, what town were you originally going to?
I know, like they were on this train, and then they stopped to talk to Dr. Marco, and I was like, wait, was that why you were on the train? I didn't even remember that was the reason why you were doing this. And if so, why are you stopping in a random town that wasn't your destination to find this guy? That's so, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, this to me is one of the worst, like, I'm not going to say one of the worst adaptations, but one of the worst examples of trying to be too faithful to the source material when you can't do that when you're interpreting something into a different medium. It just doesn't work out like that. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, it tried to capture the tone of it. And like I said, that's one of the important things for making an adaptation, but you need to realize you can capture the tone of something while still completely changing the story around to match the new medium that you're trying to tell the story in. So yeah, that was the biggest problem with this, in my opinion.
Now, speaking of which, have you seen the Fullmetal Alchemist animated movie?
There's two of them. Yes, I've seen both of them. Stop digging on the couch,
You silly
you weirdo.
girl.
Yes, I've seen both of them. I saw one of them. We saw together.
Yeah.
The Brotherhood movie we saw together, which that one doesn't like fall. That one's like a side story. Like that one's it's just them off on their own like adventure. Which that's a good way to do an anime movie. Like you don't have to like tie it into anything. But I did see the original one, The Conquerors of Shambhala.
Yeah.
That one is weird as fuck.
Yeah, it like basically picks up where like the original like anime left off.
Yeah, and man, it's
and like you said, at the end of the original anime, it's like, what the fuck just happened? It's like
they were like, wow, you guys had no idea where the show was going. Like, man, I need to show you Brotherhood now that I know that you haven't seen it because it is so much better. It's so much better in every way. Yeah, because like at the end of the original one, Ed goes into a different dimension, which turned out to be our world.
Yeah, like Ed's dimension is like alchemy is a real thing, and then he goes into our dimension where alchemy is not a real thing.
Yeah,
and it's in the middle of World War II.
It's at the start of World War II,
yeah.
and they're trying. And now, in the whole movie is Ed has to stop Hitler. But like, it gets so weird because like Hitler like he persecuted the Romani. And that's what they've now turned the Ishvalans into in this one. So you see like Rose popping up in there. It's like, this is really odd. And then like Maze, and then like Hughes pops up there as like a Nazi sympathizer. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? This is so bizarre.
Like, how dare you make the most beloved character in this anime a Nazi sympathizer? Like, go fuck yourselves.
Like, what is wrong with you? Yeah, it was so messed up. Yeah, and it's like, again, it's something that we complain about with lots of adaptations into movies. It's like, who in their right mind said, hey, I want to adapt this thing. Let's take the thing that makes this thing out of this thing. It's like, it's the He-Man syndrome I always call it. It's like, hey, what happens when we take He-Man out of Eternia and put him in the real world? Because for anybody who doesn't know, that's what they did in the 1980s He-Man movie. This one, you take Ed out of the world where alchemy exists and put him in a world where alchemy doesn't exist, and it's like, so now he's just full metal?
Yeah, it's like if Harry Potter was in the Muggle world.
It was like, what if Harry Potter, after his first semester at Hogwarts, had to go back to live with his shitty, adopted parents and didn't get to go back to Hogwarts? It's like, yeah, that's kind of what the animated film was like, so don't get me wrong, that one is better made than this one, but I'll give this movie credit. It gave us alchemy. So yeah, it's not good, and it's also over 2 hours long.
Yeah, it's like if you're gonna sit down and watch an anime that long, just watch the original or Brotherhood.
Yeah, that's the thing about this. I got some excitement out of this on some level because it's like, hey, it's that thing I know. Anybody who is a geek and has a property that they enjoy, when they see it being adapted into something and they take stuff directly from the source material, you'll get a little bit of energy out of it just from like, hey, I know this thing.
Yeah.
But eventually that shit wears off and you just gotta judge the movie on its own, and this movie ain't good. Yeah, this is not a good film. Just go and watch the anime. So yeah, so even for the people out there who are fans who are like, should I waste 2 hours on this? Watch it for a little bit just to get that feeling of, oh, hey, it's that thing. But eventually, I'd say by the point when it gets up to Tucker, you can tune out. You're done at that point. You don't need anything else. You've seen the homunculi pop up enough to be able to go, oh, okay, so that's what they look like. All right, cool. All right, fine. Yeah, that's a weird thing in this. Why the fuck I can't remember what he was in the original version that you watched, but in the Brotherhood, he's Wrath. The guy with the... Yeah, the guy with the eye patch. I don't remember. I know he wasn't Wrath in the original. I think it was Pride?
Yeah, I think so,
I think it was Pride, but it's like, yeah, it was like, he was the actual, general, the head of it.
So I was, wondering, what, Lust?
The new villain who they create for this is also, the head of the state alchemy department. and he ends up becoming a villain. And I just kept looking at him like, you already had a villain who was the head of the state alchemy department.
Yeah, I was
Why is it not him?
Yeah, I was like, when he popped up, it's like, is he supposed to be the bad guy from the original? Because I don't remember him looking like that.
Yeah, also, that definitely wasn't his name. I know that much, at least. But yeah, it's like, why didn't you just use him? It's so weird to me. It's like, well, we had to have a villain at the end. It's like, you killed 2 homunculi at the end of this. One of them could have been the villain who was behind this whole thing. It's so, like, just sloppily put together at the end of this, so... But yeah, you guys have been wanting us to talk about more anime, so hope you're happy with that.
Yeah, like, maybe we'll have something better to talk about when, like...
I am working on for March, because My Hero Academia returns in April.
Yep.
And it's one of my favorite series at the moment. That returns in April, so in March, I am actually working on getting a roundtable discussion group together to talk just about My Hero Academia, not like reviewing the series or anything, just talking about it. I've already got one dude lined up who is set. He is ready for it. We're going to be there. If I can get at least one more, I'll be down. But if I can get a 5th person involved in this, great. Awesome. So we have that coming up. Because you guys have been wanting to do like an actual anime show for a while. And the thing is, what's the format of it going to be? I have to do something to make that format different from us just sitting here on the couch talking about this thing. And a roundtable discussion to me is the best answer. That's just really hard to put together. But it is in the works. But thank you guys for tuning in. Let us know what you thought of this down in the comments down below. And follow us on Twitter, Twitch, and Tumblr at Professor Thorgy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Come out next time. Bye.
Edward, play with me. No!
I don't know. She seems fine. She seems happy like this.